you will see heaven laid open, and above the Son of Man, the angels of God ascending and descending. The angels, it is rare that we actually behold them, although sometimes we slightly feel them. There are more interventions than actually we realize, and one concrete way is that of being miraculously spared a serious consequence to an accident. I remember a couple of years ago in the car being on a slip road to the motorway and suddenly hearing this mighty bang and being propelled from side to side of the fast road, tossed in the air all over the place, landing upside down practically in the other side of the motorway slipway with the car coming at me, and yet I felt something strange. A great peaceful cushion of what seemed miraculous protection. Now, we can dismiss that if we want to, but it happens quite a lot if we look back over the years. We didn't get into the serious trouble that normally we should have at that point, and there's reason for it. We matter. And we matter so much, the Lord does give us this shield of angelic protection for the individual and also for the church, and also for nations. You remember how the angel of Portugal made himself visible to the children there already in 1916. St. Michael was not the most brilliant of angels. It was Lucifer, as his name suggests, light bringer, Luciferus, and therefore he was the one who had this glory which he wanted them to own. And that was his downfall, pride. He saw he was beautiful and bright, and this itch to have his own kingdom, because at that point he didn't think there'd be anything unpleasant in the universe. The cosmos was just peaceful, and that's when it started to have this jarring note. Hell came into existence at that point of rebellion. Oh. So he got his kingdom. Now, of course, his plan was to have the whole angelic band with him, a mighty number. People have asked, how many angels are there? And people tend to answer an infinite number, because it's actually huge and possibly incalculable. Therefore, it's a big number that's fallen. We're given to understand it's probably about a third who fell, and that's when, of course, Michael was given this power. And the answer, of course, the true being the creature, because they're also creatures, they weren't there, as it were, by necessity. Who is like God? Therefore, he's not in any way owning, he's referring. Quis was Deus, Michael, who is like God, indicating the truth of the creature, whereas Lucifer is in his own truth, and he is the father of lies. And by the way, every time we say a complete lie, we are colluding with him, and we should never do that. Never tell a complete lie. There are ways and means of being economic with the truth, and a person has the right to know things, but one does not tell a lie head on. It's important that one doesn't play that game. One lie leads to another, and it's all a bit of the dark side coming in. Remember now, St. John has a whole teaching about the truth, equated with light. Now, Lucifer, therefore, is in this state of fundamental, profound, essential hatred and envy for lesser creatures like ourselves who will take his throne and place of glory. He can't bear the thought, and so he's busy at work all the time. We don't know how many are actually in hell and how many are around, but again we're talking about a vast number. And when we think of the power that they've never lost, and the intelligence also they've never lost, we're up against it. We think that they're harmless creatures. They're like dogs barking. They're chained, but they can be a thorough nuisance, and because we're fast asleep and don't take them seriously, they are actually more dangerous than we care to think. Look at the youth. They haven't a clue, and the demon has found all kinds of ways and means of getting at them as early as possible. Now, it's very difficult for a young man, a young woman, from an early age now, to sit down and be quiet. That person is damaged psychologically by all that's coming at the person. but it's stuff also which is usually a link with the other side. They're not just looking at a bit of matter. That screen is an open door to all that's coming out there from the dark side. Therefore the devil is very much able to act using intelligence, inspiring actually intelligence, to mimic him through cartoons, games which suggest violence, aggression, vendetta, revenge and aggro in general. It's not the peace of heaven that we've come from. It's the other side that the devil wants us to share with him. Now, with regard to more direct interventions on earth, Michael has quite a few times, and actually is still intervening in events. They can do that, as the devil can perform. You know the difference between a conjurer and a magician? A genuine magician has sold his soul, and in return has power to do preternatural things. It's magic, and it's real magic. Therefore the devil can perform. And he can also give power, glory, success, money, at a price. Coming closer to us, he can also fake all that God does, healing. And he has many means of doing it through what we have now globally called New Age. But there's nothing new under the sun. It's harnessing powers from the wrong side, at a price. Observe the pattern. Now, dramatically, there are interventions when he's actually appeared. There are places, often high ground places, where he's appeared quite dramatically and has intervened in situations of plague, war, and the like. And there are usually shrines to commemorate that. But there are also interventions of angels which have been picked up on modern means. I'm quite surprised, actually, how many there are. If you are that way inclined, you can see angels at work appearing by going into YouTube's on all that question, and quite a lot come up because of the new recording of events, 24/7, closed circuit television. Things are seen, and very interesting things have been seen, a lot, and the pattern emerges like this. Yes, they are miraculously intervening to stop accidents and that kind of thing. And I know, just for one, out of many, many examples, a case which is quite dramatic, one can see this happening. It's all recorded. This gentleman on a bicycle coming up to a dangerous crossroads which he can't see, and there's this big lorry coming at him, and one can see that there's an inevitable lethal accident about to happen. And then, out of the blue, one sees, in a fraction of a moment, which can be slowed down and seen well, a being coming up, removing the person on the bicycle, putting him at the side of the road while the lorry goes by, and then disappearing into the void. If it were just one, but it's not. There are lots and lots of these around, and so it's a real world. And also, it's more around than we think in the sacramental sphere. In a situation of a monastic church in the night, or a hermitage, in the depth of night, coming close to the altar in dark, one senses a presence, a double presence. There's the presence of the Lord, with the lamp burning beside him, but also a cushion of protection right before it. One senses it. Quite a few people have sensed it in my hermitage. There's an angelic presence here. Children actually can pick things up. They're very close to the angels. And I've had quite a few people actually who have told me, out of the blue, things that they've seen. And it's quite comforting. Quite a few over the years have seen something which is consoling, that they've seen, for instance, during a homily or something, an angelic presence. And I remember hearing this years ago when I was with a group from Athboy in Medjugorje, and I had noticed over the week that a lot of the English homilies, they were usually Americans because they were the majority, they were very, if you like, showbiz-like. and playing to the gallery. And I thought, is that what preaching is about? And then, out of the blue, came this fairly young Englishman, and he presided that day over the Eucharist, and he preached. And what did he preach on? He preached on stillness in prayer. Every word hit hard. We were all listening and were riveted to him, and I've never forgotten what he said. And this happened. I heard from a friend who was there that she had gone up to him after he'd come out of the sacristy to tell him what she'd seen. He was preaching away on this, a real homily about God and not man, and through the whole of the homily she had seen a blue light surrounding him. It stopped when he stopped preaching. And when she was about to tell him this, another man intercepted her and said what he'd just seen. When you were preaching, I saw a blue light around you all that time, and it stopped after you stopped. And then she didn't have to say it because she heard it from him, but it was a confirmation that there was actually something, a little sign from heaven, that heaven is close to us when we're handling the things of God. But, and it's a big but, we're handling the things of God and do so in angelic mode. This playing to the gallery, this bringing applause and the human into the sacred, is a jarring note, a repetition, if you like, of the original sin of Satan. I will not serve. I want my own realm. I want to be adored. Man seeking attention in the temple of God. And St. Michael calmly saying, who is like